Alright, tonight I'm in the T garage and I'm finally getting around to installing my Wideband O2 in the Silvia. This is really exciting. Back when I had some exhaust work done, I had the O2 bung welded in, so all I really have to do is install the sensor into the bung, and then here's the sensor, and then run the wiring up through the body of the car up into where I want to mount it, which is going to be around the center console area. Run the wires, hook up the gauge, get some power in there, and then mount the gauge, and that's about it. Let's get to it. So the unit that I bought is an AEM unit. It comes with the Bosch oxygen sensor. We've got the gauge itself. It's got replaceable backing if I want to go with white instead of black. We have our wiring. This goes from the sensor into the back of the gauge, and I think there's also wire in here, yeah, for this can go to a different ECU if you have a different ECU that you're tuning. This is some outputs from the gauge itself that can give you your air-fuel ratio, and oh, of course, AEM sticker, gotta represent. So yeah, we're gonna get to installing this now. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Shouldn't take very long. I've already got the seat out, so the next thing to do is I'm gonna go in here, find where the other, because there's an oxygen sensor that's already in the exhaust right by where I'm mounting the O2, and so it comes up in here. You definitely cannot see that. Comes up here. Really tough to see, but this is where the oxygen sensor, the stock unit, comes up. I've already taken out the rubber grommet, so that's the same hole I'm going to run the Bosch sensor through, and then I'm just going to go back here and run the wire up here through the center console, and then I'm mounting it in the center there by my already existing autometer boost gauge, which you can't see, but it's too dang dark. So here we are, the wire is run inside, and that took a lot less time than I was anticipating, which never happens. So I'm pretty happy about that. Next step, I have to remove all the center console, the center bezel area, remove this, then I need to plug this into the back of the gauge. The big thing is going to be running power to it, which shouldn't be that hard. I have an aftermarket radio here, and my boost gauge has been powered, so I have power and ground easily accessible under here, so I'm going to get to ripping it apart, and then we'll do some wiring. Got it apart, and I found a power wire, which is just one of the 12-volt wires that went to the radio. It's already been spliced into, I believe this wire goes up here into this control, which controls the color of the backlight on the gauge cluster. And that's how it came from Japan. It's kind of cool. I'm gonna leave it. But I'm going to use the same source. I'm just going to solder right into that. Then we have a 12-volt source, and we've got a ground down in here as well. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'll just splice into the black, and we will have a powered sensor slash thing. So I figured I wanted a good way to mount the gauges in here. I'm going to have two now, and the boost gauge has always just kind of been rolling around in this spot. So I'm going to do something a little custom, and I'm going to fill this in. I found this old license plate. I figured that would actually be perfect. It's an easy to work with piece of aluminum. So I'm going to customize that in a little bit. Just I'm going to use these mounting holes back here to hold it in place, and then I'll just try to make it nice and flush, try to make it look pretty good, and I'll be able to mount both my gauges in there. I think it'll look pretty cool. Alright, we got the wideband installed, sensors in, wires run, comes through here, through the floor, goes up, runs along the carpet, through the center console, and into this new little holder I made here. Pretty happy with it. I used an old license plate I had sitting around, finally mounted my boost gauge, got the wideband gauge sitting here. I'm really looking forward to running the car. Can't do that right now, the diff is out. Get the seals replaced, but soon I will be able to test it and make sure it works, see what kind of readings I'm getting. But that completes it for the O2 wideband install on the S14.